This is the Desert Shaman, aka Roger Thunder. So today I wanted to inform my viewers of a place where they can go to connect with the Desert Shaman. And that place would be at freedomcells.org or the Desert Shaman on freedomcells.org. I will put the links below in the description box. So if you would like to join up to a Freedom Cell, then I suggest that you click on the links either in the show notes, in the description, or in the comment section. I guess I'll put the links in there too, for the Desert Shaman on freedomcells.org. Now when you go, if you click on the link, I'll put two links. One link will just be to freedomcells.org, and then the other one will be the link on freedomcells.org to the Desert Shaman. So if you click on one of those two links, what's going to happen is they'll probably ask you to join the Freedom Cell network. And I would suggest that you do that so that you can connect, and there will be a forum on there. This is a group. This is a Freedom Cell group. I also have another Freedom Cell on there called Nevada Freedom Brigade, which is also on there. But the main thing that I want you to do right now is connect with me on the Desert Shaman at freedomcells.org. Now when you go on there, you'll probably be asked to join up to the freedomcell.org. It's real simple. They suggest that you have a encrypted email, which I had to get before I joined the freedomcell.org. So I went to Proton, Proton, Proton email, which is an encrypted email. In other words, it's private. It can't be gotten into by the government or by the powers to be or by mailing lists like spam and stuff like that. So if you don't have a encrypted email, it might be more difficult to join the Freedom Cell network with just like, say, Gmail or something like that, because they'll automatically put the reply or the response that you get into spam, okay? So you might have to, if you have a different kind of email like Yahoo or Gmail or something like that, well, then you might have to look in your spam folder. But I would suggest getting some type of encrypted email, and they suggest several different emails or companies or whatever, and all of them are encrypted. So I would suggest that you go and join up with Proton email. It's based in Switzerland. Now, you don't have to do any of this stuff, but I'm just assuming that if some of you are interested in a movement, okay, that I researched, okay, I researched this freedomcells.org, and I researched the individuals that organized it. It looks like a pretty good thing, from what I can tell. Of course, you never can really tell. But I like their concept, and their concept is based on an anarchist point of view. Their concept for freedomcells.org, according to them, is to create a whole different structure outside the societal norms. In other words, outside the government and its evil, psychopathic perpetrators of different agendas. Basically, what their concept is to form a grassroots organization worldwide that is like outside the realm of the government. In other words, they want to have enough individuals and enough freedom cells formed to be able to communicate with one another, hopefully through encrypted email, to connect with one another worldwide. In other words, I've always said that we, the people, have to band together. We can't depend on what the truthers and patriots and these other people are saying. We can't depend on other people to do our work for us. And I always thought in terms of cells, and I always thought in terms of freedom cells, just like the French underground or whatever. Now, when you go on there, it says it's a nonviolent approach. However, reading between the lines, they don't rule out using defensive measures and measures of protection. Okay. So they can't come right out and say, hey, we condone violence. However, they do condone anarchy. Let me explain anarchy just for a minute here. And I think that I've touched on this in other videos that I've done in previous videos, but it's worth a redefinition or a definition in this video. Anarchy to some, and this is the way that it's been propagated, is some type of thing where everybody's flipping out and there is no more, let's say, semblance of order, and there's chaos in the streets and major overthrow of the government and that kind of concept. In other words, oh, that's complete chaos, anarchy, that's against the government. Well, what the term anarchy means by definition is freedom from government, less government, no government, freedom from governmental laws, rules, certain rights and privileges they grant you, just like the right to drive a car through a license or the right to bear arms or whatever. What this organization seems to be doing is they want to form a new grassroots method of almost like tribal communication, small tribes. And they suggest when you go on there that you form your own freedom cell of 8 members, which is the same members as a platoon. So you can take it for what it's worth. I ventured out. You know, when you venture out into anything and you explore anything, there's always and I have to just qualify this, there's always the opportunity for people to use deception just to see who's, in the freedom movement and who's in the but this is something that I did research. I looked at some of the people that formed. One is a person down in Mexico. One is a person here who and several of these people at one time were involved in the political structure, or they tried to make changes through, but they soon realized that that's an impossibility because the whole political structure is corrupt. Just like I have said so many times, the whole political structure is corrupt. The whole governmental structure is corrupt to the core. So at some point you do have to take a chance, and hell, they know all about us anyway. I mean, if people are worried about, hey, they're going to know about me or this, you don't think they know about you already? You don't think they have complete intel and info on you just through your cell phone and your computer? And the thing I like about this is it's encrypted. I think even the website is encrypted. It's just that way. Now they do like to know what your location is, and the reason that they want to know that is because when other people join, they want to see who's near them. Okay. You don't have to give like an exact address. You can just give a state or a city as your location, because as you go through and fill out your profile, there's a little thing on there, kind of like a GPS, and it says, grant permission for us to find your location. Boop, and there you are in Nevada or Arizona or whatever. However, you don't have to put an exact address, like I said before. And you don't think they know where everybody lives? So there's always the yin and the yang, you know. There's always the dark and the light, and there's always the chance or the gamble, let's say. And I'm a gambler. I'll admit it. I throw the dice in many different areas in my life, and hope for a positive outcome, let's put it that way. But I am liking what I see on freedomcells.org, because there's all kinds of people coming on there from all over the different states. Some are like, hell no, anti-vax no, anti-vax yes, vax no, pro-freedom, pro-self-sustenance, pro-moving to the rural areas, pro getting out of the cities, getting out of the clutches. And again, an anarchist-based philosophy, which is no government. No government. And when I say no government, I mean rule by tribe, rule by small communities, small cells around, where people talk to one another. And another thing I like about this is that they have developed a mindset where people are to help one another by connecting and to create, like co-ops, food co-ops, for one thing, because you never know when the shit's going to hit the fan and everything's going to be going down and there's going to be nothing on the shelves. Co-ops of knowing what's going on, like intel about the government and what the moves are that are being made. Now, there's people that are in this freedomcells.org up in Canada, down in Mexico, just different places, okay, around the North American, South American continent. Now, I don't know if I've really seen anybody in Europe yet. This might be more centralized for this specific continent here, this North American and South American and Canadian continent. So the way I look at it is, I used to have a group called the Campfire Council, okay, which was very similar to a Freedom Cell. That was on Google Groups. Well, Google Groups all of a sudden dissolved thousands of groups that were on there out of a clear blue sky, of which the Campfire Council was one of those groups. And the Campfire Council was patterned after indigenous and ancient philosophies and war strategies and spiritual pursuits. In other words, the Campfire Council was patterned after, let's say, an indigenous tribe like the Apaches sitting around a campfire and discussing tactics and drills and missions and different things to help one another escape the clutches of the archontic dark forces that rule this planet. At some point, you have to go out on a limb and you have to try to create something. In other words, instead of sitting on your ass passively, like is so often, and I've said so often in my videos, is so often projected by these alternative media people, they never offer any solutions. They never say, well, we're forming up, and that's another thing I like about this freedomcells.org is when you form a group, you have a forum in there so that you can talk to each other, you can communicate with each other, you have a forum, you can send messages. If you have an encrypted email, which I suggest, then you'll get messages via the encrypted email. The good outweighs the bad, or the good, when you're throwing the dice, you got to look at, do you make an attempt somehow to get off your ass and organize and help people form up? And that's what I try to do again with the Campfire Council. Now, the group that I have on this freedomcells.org is called the Desert Shaman. That would be me. Okay, and what I might do later on is reconstitute the Campfire Council. But I want to get a bunch of kindred people on there. And I have 1,000 plus, almost 2,000 subscribers, and I get regularly, let's say lately I've been getting close to 100 or more views. 118, 134 views on a video. So I'm thinking if I could get 60 people, or even 40 people that watch these videos to go on there, join up, link up with me so that I know where you're at around the country and you know where I'm at, which is in Nevada, by the way. Although I was raised in Arizona, I'm kind of a desert Southwest guy, okay? Always have been, probably always will be. Yes, I lived in different places. I lived in San Diego, California for a long, long time, till that started going south, literally. But I'd like to hook up with some people out there, and it's kind of like a one-for-all, all-for-one type situation where you hook up, you try to help each other, maybe in a monetary fashion even. I'm not against us helping each other on a monetary level, on a spiritual level, on a physical level. Keeping our spirits high, keeping connected. Also, there might be an opportunity for you to get some counseling from me on a personal level. Shamanistic, or, as a wisdom keeper, that type of thing. It's very indigenous, let's put it that way. Just as the Campfire Council was indigenously based on the Apache and the Lakota and the Nez Perce and the Hopi, especially the Hopi. Now I really have been getting into Hopi back in, I should say, because I've done documentaries on the Hopi. I have a kindred relationship with them from the Four Corners area of the Southwest. That would include Arizona and New Mexico and Colorado and that vicinity up there. If you have any inkling that you want to be associated with a Southwestern shamanistic tradition of reaching out to each other and forming up a group, well, then I suggest that you click on the links below. And I said I would put the links in there, and I will. One is freedomcells.org, which is easy to remember. And then the other one, I don't know right off the top of my head, but it's freedomcells.org with the group that I have formed, the Desert Shaman. Okay. Click on that, and I'm sure that you're going to get redirected by something that says, well, do you belong, or you must join the freedomcells.org in order to get into this group, or well, just join. Just join up and get your encrypted email or whatever you got to get. It's not a big deal. The encrypted email, like my Proton, and I guess I could put a link to that too. The encrypted email is just a good thing to have, period. So you got to jump through a couple of hoops. You know, I know people hate to just move that finger around on the mouse and maybe do a couple of things that's going to be a little bit outside their daily routine. If you got a goddamn computer and a cell phone, you know it's being used against you, so we might as well turn around and use it against them. So you might have to jump through a couple of hoops. You might have to get an encrypted email. You might have to fill out a few things, and then boom, you're there. You're on there, and there's a lot of people. I think there's 30,000 people on there right now. 30,000, close to 30,000, or maybe a little bit more. Not on my group, and I'm talking about across the whole spectrum. And again, there's all kinds of cells on there that you might be interested in other than mine. I mean, there's cells about homesteading. There's cells all in the different states popping up, like Tennessee and Texas and Florida, and there's anti-vax cells, and mostly everybody on there is for this reforming a whole different level of society. And it won't be the society that you're living in now. It will be a society of people that are hooking up all over. Eventually, what the guy said that organized this said that he would like to completely do away with the government having any control over people in any way, shape, or form by forming a whole different strata versus this Freedom Cell network, forming a whole different strata of society. And their big push is getting out of the cities, getting into rural areas, getting self-sufficient. They're even into entrepreneurship, but on a different level. One for the freedomcell.org people, creating things. I mean, the possibilities are limitless. Hooking up with people that have land. I've seen people on there that are like in northern Arizona that have Freedom Cell trailer parks and places where you can go out and get off the grid and rent some land or get a space and put your RV there. And have a cooperation with whoever formed this group. just hooking up with people that are off grid, people that are out in the middle of nowhere, people that are slightly off outside the cities. The whole thing here is, people, you got to get outside the cities. I said this for so long. You got to hook up with people. You got to have a positive motivational concept, as opposed to, as I have beat this drum before, these people that just sit around talking about how bad things are. That's a negative energy. That's a negative energy. Oh, let's talk about how bad things are and how fucked up things are, but never offer any kind of solutions. Oh, but we're waiting on the Great Awakening, or we're waiting on the military, or we're waiting on Trump, or we're waiting on this, and we're waiting on that. We're not going to do anything. We're just going to sit here, take in all the negative fucking information that we can, toxify our fucking systems, okay? And do nothing. Sit on our passive asses and do nothing. This, to me, and I hope I'm proved right, is a positive motivational thing. It's a positive thing, okay? These people aren't sitting on there whining and crying and talking about how everything's so bad. They're thinking more of, okay, everything's bad in this certain strata, in this certain society controlled by politicians and governmental authorities. Let's get the fuck out and start forming our own. It'd be like a good concept, or a good picture that you could have in your mind. It would be like forming a whole United States over the other United States, okay? In other words, forming a whole country and government, well, actually non-government, let's say an association, a tribal association. That's what's needed here. That's what's needed. Going outside the grid of technology and, well, let's say the known technology and the known mainstream media and the known alternative media, and going outside that, but yet still using the technology of the internet to do that while it still can be. I'm surprised this hasn't gotten taken down. Now, a word of caution, there is another Freedom Cell website. It's .com. That's not this one. That's kind of a patriot thing, okay, organized by some guy in Texas. Hey, if you want to join that, that's up to you. But this one is freedomcells.org, O-R-G, which has nothing to do with patriotism or any of that shit, because that is part of the problem. People thinking that they got to be, form an allegiance to a government that's gone down the tubes, to a country that's gone down the tubes. There is no more USA government, patriotic. The Constitution has basically been eroded. What we need is an anarchist, more like, and that just means, again, less government, no rule by government. Government's the problem. Absolute power corrupts absolutely, and it's corrupted to the core. So there's nothing you can do about it. You're not going to change the system from within their system. You have to go outside their system to change it. Get my drift here? You have to go tribal. You have to go completely clean of their bullshit, okay? And their tentacles that they reach out and try to grab you with through their different laws and their different regulations and their different censorships. Now, one thing I did notice on here, there's supposed to be a timeline, and I haven't figured out, they haven't instituted that yet, where you can post pictures and stuff like that, but you can do that within the groups. So within the groups, you have a forum that you can click on and talk to people, or you have, if the group allows it, you can post photos. I don't know if I checked that box yet on my thing, but for now, if you go on there and join the Desert Shaman, we'll just have a forum. Well, you might be starting to think, well, what about leadership? How do you elect leaders? Leaders should come about through a process non-politicized, non-democratic. In other words, leadership is kind of like the cream, that rises to the surface, the clarified butter, okay? I think that will come about naturally. It has to be a natural process within this, like say within the cell. Yes, I organize the cell. And so that makes me a leader in a sense. But leaders in the Lakota tradition and other Native American traditions got there by practicing the 4 virtues or the 4 principles of leadership in a natural way, okay? And I probably will touch on that in a further video. So anyway, I'm just putting this thought out there, and you're free. You're a free person to do what you want. If you don't feel like this is for you, that's fine. But I would like to get about 40 members started in my group, because right now there's a bunch of groups popping up, and some people join, some people don't. I must say my group is a little bit different in that it's more focused on being a shaman and being a warrior, okay? Shamanistic warrior society. Just like Crazy Horse and Sitting Bull and Geronimo and that type of thing. But also tribal in the aspect of like naturally helping one another. So there's a few people out there that watch these videos, one that I know of particularly, and a few others that used to belong to my former group called the Campfire Council, that will probably latch right onto this and go, oh, finally, we got another group that we can go to, that we can establish communication and some kind of cohesive thing other than just you sitting there and watching Thunder flap his jaws, okay? So that's the thought that I'm putting out today. And I'm going to put a picture, I think, of the logo that I'm using on this video so you'll be able to identify it. Actually, I changed the header to my YouTube channel, and that's really the logo that you will find on the Desert Shaman is the same logo, the Desert Shaman, that's on my YouTube channel. So you can look for that. And there it is, You go to cells, go to the main page, scroll down. There's several pages, 1, 2, 3, on and on and on. I think I'm on the first page or second page. So I thought that I would put that idea, that thought out there and see how many people are attracted to it. Hell, even if it's just 5 people, you get to talk to Thunder, you get to go on a forum, you get to have talk to others that are watching me, that are into my work, basically. The great work, I call it, or the shamanistic work, or the whatever you want to call it, it is part of my work, part of my purpose. And if you're into my books, and the links are on the group, in the group there, when you join, you'll see the links there for this channel and also Spirit of Crazy Horse, where my books are. I don't know, I thought I'd give it a whirl. Join up, form a society. Hell, even if I'm not here anymore after that, you're all connected. You know, nobody lasts forever. But my purpose is to form up a society in the tradition of the indigenous people, the wisdom keepers, the shamans, the medicine men, the curanderos, that type thing. So I guess I've said enough here. I'll just leave it there today and see what happens with this, see if anybody starts trickling in or not. And if people do start trickling in, well, I have another YouTube channel called the Campfire Council that I might activate as well for like specific messages to the group. Okay? I'll leave it there today. Use your own judgment and your own discernment. If you have questions, you can post it in the comment section. I'll leave it there. Adios.